Okay, let me just be real clear. When we get finished, we'll answer as many questions as we can. And then you'll have my contact information and you can do some follow-up. I get all kinds of questions and Brittany does too, and just different specifics. So if you have any questions, you're unclear on what's going on or how the program's going to work with you, let us know, okay? And we'll get right back to you. Things are lightening up this semester, so the response time should be a little bit better than it has been the last week or so. Okay, the program is, we're in the College of Agriculture, the Food Science Institute. Actually, the program is more across a lot of campus. So let me just go down here. This is some picture of some of our happy students and faculty. Food Science Institute, just to give you an idea, you'll hear this mentioned, and the Food Science Institute houses our webpage, the homepage on the program, and which is a very good page. So you should refer to that if you have some questions. If you don't want to contact me, but you're welcome to. Let me get my figures out of the way, my pictures out of the way. Okay, we facilitate the food science undergraduate degree. The graduate program is actually an interdisciplinary, interdepartmental program, and it goes across campus. 4 colleges, 9 departments, and we have participants in all kinds of different departments, which is really actually very advantageous because we get a mixture of all kinds of different expertise, and we're really happy with that kind of arrangement. It's been like that ever since it was formed. There's never been a Department of Food Science at K-State, which seems to work okay for us. A lot of programs, schools, you'll see the department, but the fact that we're interdisciplinary, I think, is a big positive. And our graduate program has been in existence, get this, folks, almost 55 years. It's quite shocking, but actually we still have one of the faculty one of the founding fathers of the program that's still on campus. Now he's retired, he's an emeritus professor, he still has an office, he comes in. He only retired about 3 years ago. So it's like, wow. So we've been around for quite some time. The critical contact people, and Diane, myself, Jeanette Thurston is the Institute Director, and Brittany, who's here with us. And Diane's here too, right? Yes. And these are major contact people. We'll should also have Nicole Marple. She's our administrative coordinator in the Institute office. So her and I pretty much, well, actually, I go sit in her office every day and say, what do I need to do now? So what do you need? So if you have questions, you can ask her, you could ask me. We've worked together as a pretty good team, all of us. Why food science MS degree and why K-State? I think most of you are already here for a food science master's degree. You probably know why you want to do that. But maybe not, but the K-State, the reason K-State is we probably have one of the top online degrees in the country, probably in the world. We have the most broadest master's degree of any online program. Now there are some really good programs out there, but they're more focused on food safety and things of that sort. We have a food safety component, we just not totally focused on that. We're for chemistry, we're product development, quality assurance, a lot of different areas. You probably are aware of all the opportunities we have across the food system, all kinds of things. It goes from education all the way to the technical science. We primarily deal with the science of the food as it comes off out of production into plants and things of that sort. And it's a quite a, there's educational components, there's extension components, and a lot of different types of technical components in a company or a big or small. There's different varieties of those. So this is the 2019 IFT employment and salary data survey. Oh, excuse me. It's needs a little bit of update, but the salaries have gone up even more than this. If you're in the industry right now, which probably a lot of you are, you know that you're with a bachelor's degree right now, you're probably up in the 70, 80,000 mark already. Our undergraduates start at about 55. Graduate students are a little bit higher, but they seem to move up quicker. PhDs obviously are going to be higher than that. The almost all of our students coming in are looking at the master's degree to enhance maybe their position, to move into a different position, and possibly get some salary benefits out of that too. So I try to talk to a lot of them and say, hey, why are you doing this, and that kind of thing. So I get a lot of different answers, but a lot of time it's to get a little bit better position, maybe move up the scale, and also get some salary benefits and things of that sort. This, if you're curious, I'm not going to open it up here now because it takes a lot of bandwidth, but this link will take you to a map, a world map that shows different areas of the world where our students are working. And you can click on it and it'll give you the companies and what part of, especially in the United States, our people are located. And we try to update it periodically just to give you a perspective on what's going on with our degrees and where they're at. So we've probably graduated, I don't have the exact count, but at least 300 students. And to give you a perspective, right now, we have 90 students online in our program. We have 30 on campus. So we have quite a few. In fact, we're for a while there, we didn't have, it dipped down for a while and then it came back up. But we still have the classes and we have the seats and everything for the 90. So even if it grows another 20 or 30 or so, we're going to be fine. So we have quite a bit. This here was really doesn't tell you much. So I'm going to go ahead on the next one here. I'm not going to show you this video. It's too might be too bandwidth intensive, and we're running a little behind too. Okay, for our online students, almost 95% plus are employed full-time in food industries across the country or Canada. We did not take students outside of North America into the program at this point. It's very common that the employer will pay sometimes full, but at least a significant portion of the tuition fees. And as we look at your application, when you apply, if you've decided to apply, and you can contact me before that if you're not sure. The prereqs, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. You will come in, before you come in, when you make your application up, you have a letter of intent. If you see a faculty member you'd like to have as your advisor, we will do our best to assign that person. If not, I will look for what your interests are and look at the faculty and say, hey, would you be interested in advising this student? So you will come in with an advisor right from the very beginning. So that happens even before your application is forwarded to the graduate school for approval. We don't approve the applications. The graduate school has the ultimate authority. We just make a suggestion. And they almost always take our advice and admit students, but sometimes, we have to have a little discussion. But yeah, before everything goes over, you will have an advisor already as soon as the admissions information goes out to you. What am I doing this? I'm going the wrong way here. Okay, graduate course options. The critical thing to our online program is we have a multitude of distance graduate courses, and they're all online. A lot of them are captured from on-campus lectures with the MediaSite video system. Now we could add Zoom into that, and we use what's called the Canvas Learning Management System. If you may be familiar with Blackboard or Canvas, something like that. So it's all organized pretty much online, and I think Canvas is pretty easy to follow. The thing about the advantage to this is we try to have both the distance and campus courses so they have the same material. So I teach several courses on campus, and I'm teaching basically the similar material online, even though we have to make some modifications to some of the content just by the nature of the being online versus in person. And we have at least 70 online courses, and but we also have some more that are developed all across campus. So we will accept those too. So usually you'll have some electives. You can look around. Doesn't have just to be in food science. It can be in engineering or business and things of that sort. Like I said before, the K-State master's degrees offered on campus and online. We have three options, actually. We have the non-thesis, non-report option. We have the report option and the thesis option. They're all called the master's degree. When you get a degree, it doesn't say what the option is. It just says master's degree, food science. Probably about almost all of our students come in the non-thesis, non-report option. This is coursework only, pretty much exclusively for online. Sometimes we do have on campus take online courses, but the university is trying to push us away from that. We have the report option that is for campus and online that can be used. The thesis option is primarily for on campus in person, like about a 2-year residence program, and that involves research and then writing a thesis. Typically, that's not related to the online situation, though, but there are exceptions. And we do have a food safety and defense graduate certificate, which you can take at the same time as you're taking the master's degree and use the same courses. So you can do double dipping on that. The master's non-thesis option, coursework only, it requires 34 credits. We have a core of 20 to 22. We have 2 blocks. Block A, required courses, there's 12 credits. And we have Block B, you have to take 3 of 5 courses, 8 to 11 credits. And for those of you that may have a food science undergraduate degree already, we don't require you to retake the courses. We'll substitute something else, and that would be determined by your advisor and major professor that's advising you once you get in. So, for example, in Block A, probably most of you would have had food microbiology, food science 600. So we're not going to make you take it again. You had that as an undergraduate. We're not going to make you take it again. You're not going to be able to count it toward your degree, but you can substitute something else. And likewise for food chemistry, food analysis, so on and so forth. We're pretty flexible about some of these things. We do require the scientific writing. We're pretty adamant about that. The Stat 705, regression analysis, that's pretty important. In the graduate seminar, everybody takes that. So these are just some of the courses. Let me see. I should probably have another slide showing some other possibilities, but there's a large list of courses. Since our program started fall 2020, we had 250 online students graduated. And that's probably a little bit higher. I'm going to have to check on that. I didn't get this updated from last fall. Actually, fall was up around 83. Right now, we have 90 in progress, and it looks like we're going to have that number is going to continue to go up for the next year or so, which is good. Like I said, majority of the graduates in our program are employed in the food industry and all kinds of industries. It's pretty fascinating. As faculty on campus here, we love to have these students get this contacts with different types of industry, and we learn what's going on. It's really pretty good. Like I said, there's a food safety and security graduate certificate, and this is part of what's called an IDEA program. It's hooked in with, once you get into this, it's tied in with other universities, so it gives a little bit more courses, flexibilities. Kansas State University, there's Iowa State, University of Nebraska and Lincoln, and University of Missouri. And basically we share some of the courses because we don't offer all of them at one campus, but you don't have to go to that university to enroll in the course. You can just enroll through K-State and it'll have a K-State number and takes care of all that paperwork and everything. So that's a good option. I have one of my students that's taking one of the courses actually from University of Nebraska. And we don't teach the course, it's a food toxicology, and it's a very good course, and just didn't have the possibility here, so it's a pretty good deal. For information, I recommend you look at the Food Science Institute website, foodsci.kstate-edu, and go to the future students and click on the graduate tab here once this pops down. We have a lot of detail. I know websites are getting away from that, but we think it's important that it's all there. And it's linked up to the graduate school, some of their information. So I think it's important that you see this kind of information as you think about applying. And what else we have? So please let us know. You can go through Global Campus folks, or you can contact myself or Nicole. We're both on the website, and ask us questions, or we'll set up a time and I'll give you a call back, and or we can sometimes meet I come in usually Saturday and Sunday mornings to work, and we can meet there if you can get away at work during the day, or probably at night you're too tired to have to deal with this kind of stuff. So, okay, there's our contact information. There's Nicole Marple. She's great, outstanding. Myself, Jeanette, and Dan and Brittany are both also, they're pretty versed on the program too. So let's see where else we're at here. Okay, I think we'll stop this right here, and I can take questions. And we've already got some stuff in the chat.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Smith. We have a question about how do labs and hands-on activities work remotely?
Well, for a lot of classes, there's some courses that send out kits or have you do home experiments. If you're looking at this, I know flavor chemistry does that. I think food micro, quality assurance, they require a project where you have to develop a product and turn it in at the end of the semester. And it's exactly the same type of requirement that would be required on campus. Obviously, you're not going to get some of the hands-on experience. And we figure, for the most part, you're getting that right now in your position. And so we're filling in some of the educational gaps that you might have, but a lot of times the students already have some hands-on, so we're just giving you a better background on what you're doing. So what else?
Yeah, at this time, feel free to put any questions that you might have in the chat or in the Q&A box, and we'll be happy to answer those.
So I did that good of a job of explaining all this?
Okay, so for when it comes to the application, do you require 3 professional contacts or written letters of recommendation? Could you explain that a little bit?
Okay, the application, as you, like everything is now, it's an electronic application. You go online, and what you'll have to do is we'll need 3 professional references, and your references will have to go online, and usually there's a form they fill out, and then they can provide upload letters of recommendation, digital. So we don't, and we cannot really accept anything paper anymore. So almost everybody that writes a letter of recommendation, they'll go online. Well, you'll have to set up, you'll send them an email, and they'll have a link, and they'll go to that, and then they'll log in, and there's a form they fill out, just different categories, and then they also will upload a PDF or something like that, a Word letter of recommendation. And if you do apply, just keep in mind the thing that holds back the applications the most are the missing references. So we require 3, and until we get the 3, it doesn't queue up, and we don't really see it unless we go out and search in it, search through all the past applications and everything. So Nicole tries to keep an eye on that. So once we get to 3, then everything else is complete, then it queues up, and then we have it as an application that's complete and ready for review.
Yeah, so with that, in the application, there will be a portion where you can put in those names and emails of the recommendations. And
Yes.
then you are able, if you've already completed everything else, you can submit the application before all of your references reply, but we can't process it until they do. So you can always log back in and see the status and send reminder emails to your references. Bearing in mind that we aren't able to process the application until we receive those. So the application deadline is not only you having submitted the application, but also us having received every piece of that application. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. And then we have another question asking if the food safety and defense certificate can stack with the master's degree. How does that work? Can people use those, like do the certificate and use that as some of their electives? What does that look like?
Yes, that's correct. It'll stack, so you can take, if you're careful, I actually don't have to be that careful. The courses that used for the degree can also be used for the certificate. So you don't have to take extra courses. So you can do 34 credits and get the degree, and then also get the certificate. So it'd be just switching around a few electives, and that works pretty well. And sometimes that's pretty helpful.
Awesome. Next, we have a couple people wondering how many people apply every year and how competitive entry into this program is.
We get, let me see. We're probably getting about, I'm trying to think here. We're getting about 25 a semester. So maybe 50 to 60 a year. And we're graduating lately about 25 or 30. If you have your prereqs, and your GPA is in good shape and the references are good, you will probably be admitted into the program. And right now, the limiting thing is finding somebody as an advisor. So, because we're trying to expand that, but we don't have restrictions on how many we're going to accept. If we have qualified applicants, then we're going to bring you in. So.
Awesome. And then I've seen a few questions about this. So just kind of an answer for everyone and to let you know, Dr. Smith, there are a few people who are asking about, they have their undergrad in a specific area. Could they request for their transcripts to be reviewed from you and see if their courses meet the prerequisites? Would you like those people to just send you an email with those transcripts and you can do that?
Yes, that would be quite helpful.
Awesome.
It takes a few minutes for me to open it up and look at it, and I'm scanning through, and you can see our prereqs on our website. There's a couple of prereqs. If you don't have them, we are not going to bring you into the program. And if you have a question, don't apply, because when it comes down to the bottom line, if you don't have the prereqs, we can't accept you in the program. We will not accept you. And certain, some of them we can make a waiver, and what happens is if we do that, then you have to get the prereqs and then come back and reapply. So that costs you some extra money. So check with us first before you apply if you have a question about that. But if you have a food science degree, undergraduate degree, basically that is a prereq. So if you have that, but if you're, let's say chemistry or biology or music or business, we get applicants from all of these. You might be missing a few of them. And I don't mind looking at it and saying, okay, you need this. And if you don't have a place to pick up those prereqs, I send a lot of potential applicants to Barton Community College that has a very extensive online program, undergraduate program. And there you can pick up the prereq courses. For example, I just sent one email out today to this woman that wants to apply, and she's missing general microbiology. And Barton Community College has multiple sessions this summer. So pick up one of the sessions and take the course, and go ahead and apply for this summer or this fall, and we'll you should be in good shape as long as you get a C. At Barton Community College, I've got all the courses that you could possibly need. I've got the numbers and everything, and their tuition is $150 a credit, which is a pretty good deal. Some of the prereqs we don't have at K-State. We don't have any biology courses, to my knowledge, that are offered online, and chemistry has one course and biochemistry has one course. So the other, some of the departments they're not really into the online thing. So yeah, y'all check with us, and that just takes a few minutes. Just go ahead and say, hey, I'm thinking of applying. Here's my transcript. What do you think? And the other thing is we get into a problem sometimes is the graduate school has a policy that you must have a GPA of 3.0 as an undergraduate, or 3.0 the last 2 years of your studies. So if you don't meet that requirement, we may have to do something special to get you in. That doesn't mean you're not qualified. That means that maybe you went to school 10 years ago and you were sort of goofing off like I did. And now it's come back to haunt you, and you're not that same person now. You're more studious, and you'd be fine in our program. We've never had any problem with that kind of situation. But grad school will look at that, and we'll have to make maybe have you take a course or two and then apply. I might also note that we still do not require the GRE, so don't plan on taking that at this point. We waived it off for COVID-19, and I don't know if it's going to come back or not. we have a steering committee for the program. And every semester I ask them, okay, folks, did we bring it back or do we want to keep it waived? So right now there's no GRE requirement.
Awesome.
So what else we got here?
For the letter of intent, could you speak a little bit about that or the statement of objectives? Is there something specific that you're looking for? Do you want it to be more generic or to the point and more personable? And is the interest area solely meant to figure out and pair someone with their advisor?
Yes, the interest area, with the online degree, just general coursework only, it's not real critical, the interest area, because we're not going to try to pair you up with somebody that has a research in that area. So, but we just want to know what your interests are and what you're doing right now, what you plan to do. And sometimes that helps to get a faculty member that's sort of in that area and has an interest, and makes it a little bit more pleasant experience. Let's see, what's this here? Do the prereqs have to be taken before a person can apply for the program? If you don't have the prereqs, we will not accept you. You'd have to take the prereqs. And if you have further questions on that, let me know. Am I ahead or behind here?
I think you're generally close to where we are. I skipped around a little bit just in terms of how questions kind of related to each other. We do have a couple people asking about spreading the program out over a couple of years and if they can do the program part-time. And could you speak to that a little bit?
Pretty much everybody does the program part-time. So it takes, completion time is a typical average. The mean is about 2.5 years. And we've had some completed quicker, but we know that people are working, so it's not something that we expect you to do, take a bunch of courses. We don't recommend it. And depending on your workload, especially if you have a position where you're traveling a lot, you might even have a semester where you can't take courses, and that's no problem either. So typically a student will take, STAR students will take 1 or 2 courses a semester, maybe a course in the summer, and the 34 credits, if you average it out, it takes about 2.5 years. We've had them go as like out to 5 or 6 years, depending on the situation. So, but yeah, it's going to be a part-time deal. Let's see.
Also with that, I'll just note that the graduate school has a rule that degrees must be completed within 6 years. So that's kind of the timeline you're looking at.
Yes, and there's exceptions, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
Let me see. There's another question here. Okay. Okay, the degree, the transcripts from other schools. What I'd like to see, if you want to send them to me, if you have a question, send me your a student copy, a decent one I can read with pretty good, pretty good contrast. And I don't want anything formal. And in fact, in your application, we do not want you to upload a official transcript, because you're wasting money and time, because the grad school is going to request that once you get accepted. So the first semester you become accepted, they'll request that you have an official copy sent to them. So it can't even come to us. So student copies are fine. Let's see here. GRE. Okay, are there experienced particular partnerships developed to work with federal state agencies, such as USDA? No, we do not have partnerships. We are assuming that almost all our students are going to be working right now in some capacity, so they wouldn't have time for that anyway. And we don't usually have internships because, again, our population of students are full-time employees and they wouldn't have time. But if that was something that came along, it's something that could be possibly worked out. I can be reached at jsskim@ksu.edu. That's correct. Is there a firm application date 2 months prior to the start of the semester? Okay, is there a more firm application date? I've only seen about two
Yeah.
to three. Okay, let me just tell you. There are some firm dates in there when you look at the dates. There's one in the spring for, and we have very firm dates for internationals, but that doesn't concern you all. That all deals with getting I-20s and visas and stuff like that. And that takes a long time. So those are different deadlines for on-campus internationals. The typically what we're looking for is we'd like to have the application in about 2 to 3 weeks before school starts. So for fall semester, it would be helpful to have it completed by around the first part of August. But
Yeah.
I've talked to the grad school and they don't really have a deadline. But if you wait too long, it's going to be hard to get it processed because they get jammed up. And so then you run into a situation, you may be enrolling late in the courses. But more importantly, if you wait real long, some of the courses fill up. And so the options are narrowed down. So I would say get it in as soon as possible. And we process them. We don't have a particular time slot where we sit down and process applications. We process them as they come in. And we do have a pretty firm deadline for the spring semester, about the end of the first part of the second week of December, because school shuts down. So we've got to have them in, because once we come back, there's almost no time before the semester starts. So does that answer that question? I think.
Yeah. And I just also clarified further down that we do set the deadline for the fall semester at August 1st. Like you mentioned, the information on our website about the 2 to 3 months applies to most of our programs, but there are others with more firm deadlines, or deadlines that come later than that, which applies to the food science masters.
Yeah. So each program has their own process there, folks. Okay, can you upload a PDF you have or scan in a copy? Okay. This first. Let me see. Got my email. Are we missing anything? Are there other questions?
I think that covered most of the questions I've seen in the chat. If any of you do have additional questions that maybe come up after this, feel free to reach out to Dr. Smith at his email, which is in the chat, or myself or Diane at online@ksu.edu. And then just a reminder, this has been recorded and will be sent out to everyone once we have the recording available, and that everyone who attended tonight is eligible for an application fee waiver to the master's degree program for the fall 2022 semester. So please reach out to Diane or I at the online@ksu.edu email. And when you're ready to apply, to get that application fee waiver code, and we will be happy to get that to you. And otherwise, I also just want to thank you, Dr. Smith, for that great presentation and getting through all of the questions. And I want to thank everyone one last time for bearing with us through the technical difficulties and participating tonight. If there aren't any additional questions, I'm happy to let everyone go.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll hear from some of you. And all right,
Yeah, we look forward to helping you guys out. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Have a good evening.
okay. Good night, folks.